friends of our nation should be honored above all others in our society, for their courage has made everything else possible for us. Major General Gerald T. Sager, my husband, spoke those words at Gettysburg on Memorial Day weekend. Now, all of us are here for that purpose, to honor our soldiers. I am the mother of 6 children, 3 of whom were Army officers. And when our son, Lieutenant Colonel Frank Sager, came back alive from Fallujah, Iraq, General Sager and I committed ourselves to work with our wounded soldiers. That was in 2006. In 2006, there was no organization in place in Pennsylvania. We went to the VFWs, to the Legion, but because all of our soldiers were still in medical facilities, they had not yet had anything on their agenda. And so we began by visiting soldiers at Walter Reed. And it was there that we learned that all during the week, the soldiers see doctors, nurses, physical therapists, but come the weekend, they were just looking at each other. And so we live on a farm. We're about 12 miles north of Gettysburg, and we decided what we would do is bring the soldiers with their spouses and children to the farm. And that's really how we began. But before long, the soldiers began coming through the VA hospital system. And we found that those who needed our help were the ones who were having difficulty with their finances. And so we find over the last few years that basically this is what we're doing. Soldiers who can't pay their rent, their disability checks don't stretch far enough, they can't pay utility bills, or an emergency comes up, as it does in every family. We are helping them financially until they can get back on their feet. We do other things. We do things for fun, to bring a little lift in their lives. And so we take soldiers from Walter Reed. We've taken them to Hershey Park with their spouses and children for the day, or to a senator's ball game, or taking them hunting or fishing. And so we're available to do whatever we're called upon to do. People in the communities all over Pennsylvania say to us, well, we would like to help. And oftentimes they don't know what to do. But it all comes down to dollars and cents. You know, when you can't pay a bill, how that plays on your mind, and you are upset by all kinds of things when you have this financial burden on your back. And so it's people in communities all over this state who are doing remarkable things. A woman who came to me said, do you know, my boss gave me $50 as a bonus. I work for a very small company. She said, I took that money, I bought food, and I invited all my neighbors to come, and I told them we're raising money for the Pennsylvania National Guard wounded soldiers. And she gave us a check for $265. So you find those kind of stories throughout our state. And all of you who are here have made that kind of contributions. So whether it's our PNC Bank, or Harley-Davidson, or Pinnacle Health, all of these people have come here to honor all of you, our wounded soldiers. When we first began, I told you we have 6 children, 3 of our Army officers. We have a son, Scott, who graduated from West Point, and he said, Mother, do you know there's a national organization called Wounded Warrior Project? They're headquartered in Florida. And so they were really our inspiration, because we learned they were the first responders. And we said if they're the first responders, we will work in the recovery period. And so that's the kind of work we do. But I've been given credit for this banquet And the credit goes to someone whose name is Sandra Patrick. Sandra Patrick came to me many months ago and said, well, what are you doing to honor our wounded soldiers? And I told her what it is we're involved with, and she said, no, I mean, what are you doing to honor them at something special like a banquet? So I told her, she planted the seed and I watered it. Sandy Patrick is a most remarkable woman. In her youth, she was the lead singer of a band. She performed on stage in Pennsylvania and New York. And now she's a senior citizen, like I am. And so it was her idea to have this banquet. Unfortunately, back in August, she had an accident and fell. Now, she's very agile and much younger than I am. And she crushed her elbow and broke her shoulder and broke her other arm and broke her foot. Well, she fell in church when nobody was there. And she said she just prayed to Jesus, help me get up. She thought, I may just end up dying on the spot. And she said, you know what my inspiration was? She said, I thought about these wounded soldiers when they're injured. And they see a buddy injured, and they have the strength then to go and pick them up and carry them on out. So she said, I prayed to get me up and out. She was able to get up on her feet with all those injuries. You know, when both arms are injured, to get up is quite a challenge. She got up, she walked out of there, she went to use the phone, and that's all she remembered. But she did call 911, and she survived. And I want to introduce to you Sandra Patrick, because she deserves the applause for this special occasion to honor our wounded soldiers. Sandra Patrick.